definitely League of Legends is an ever-changing game. Every 2 weeks, we almost have a patch out. So the champion picks that we are expected to see in this patch will be drastically different from the qualifiers that are being played. 8.15, of course, known as the Marksman patch, the return of the ADCs. Uzi is definitely very hyped for that one. And of course, the new champion, Akali, dominating our professional leagues as well.
And on your screen, you can see Team China right there. It's Let Me, MLXG, Xie, Uzi, and of their 2 supports, looks like it's Mako. So, starting off for us.
Yeah, and this year has been the year of the dog. The person you want to know, you really want to remember, is Uzi, the marksman clip player coming out from the Chinese squad right here. Before 2018, he has never won a domestic title, but in 2018, it's all been going so well for him. Championship after championship in Spring Split domestically and to the MSI, to the Rift Rivals.
And you already mentioned how this is the year of the dog, and this is the AD carry patch. Uzi, and alongside his new support, Mako, is one of the few players that has been sticking to those AD carries, has been sticking to those marksmen. You can see them on your screen right now as this duo will attempt to take down some of the best in the Asia region.
And this duo really is the duo of dreams for the LPL. So many fans want to see these 2 players play together. Mako, the captain of Edward Gaming EDG, one of the best supports, one of the best shot callers in the region, finally getting a chance to team up with the best mechanical player in Uzi.
Their mid laner will be Xie from Team WE in the LPL region. He's been putting on a stellar performance over the course of spring. Hopefully that'll get to continue here with the Team China team.
He was the 1 vote away from taking the MVP in the Spring Split, coming from Team WE, very well known and one of the most popular players we have in the region.
Of course, following up with that in the jungle, it's MLXG, Spicy Hot Pot himself, trying to bring down.
Yeah, definitely trying to take it here to the international tournament. He's known for being quite a quirky player, plays a lot of interesting champions, and is known for his super hyper-aggressive style.
And of course, his teammate Let Me from Team Royal Never Give Up as well. These 2 have been playing together for quite some time. And though there is a bit of rotations with the sub-roster for the RNG team, we're expecting their synergy to be on point on the big stage today.
Let Me, the best performing international player for the Chinese squad here, is known as a tank player, and his skill is to make every matchup a 50-50. Now we're seeing the camera pan over to Ming, the support on RNG, who is also on the roster.
Yes, that 6th man. Of course, their opponents on the other side, it's Kazakhstan, Bula XOXO in the top lane, Sins in the jungle, Crayon in the mid lane, Fake Lover as their AD carry, and Milky as their support.
Hailing from Central Asia, they did take a 2-0 over Uzbekistan to come into the tournament here representing the region.
And it should be noted that in that 2-0 series, of course, 3 games were played, though only 2 were counted. That was with a different marksman. That was with Saint. So Milky, their support, hopefully we'll get to see how he performs with Fake Lover. We'll see that they have been practicing and will be cooperating well with each other.
Their bot lane has been incredibly lane dominant so far. Milky, we've seen from him supports that do protect and engage as well. The Thresh game for me was spectacular from him, but unfortunately he will be playing with a new marksman, and it will be a road for adaptation coming out from Kazakhstan.
And this is the player that we see on our screen right now, Fake Lover stepping in to take on one of the best in the world in Uzi. He's currently heralded as the best AD carry in Fake Lover. This is quite a mountain to climb if your first game in the tournament is up against a player of that caliber.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough showdown here, but we're still holding out hope, and we want to see the synergy really develop between that bot lane.
Of course, in the mid lane, following up with that is Crayon, the Karma Galio player from the qualifier stages, playing mostly support and tank picks, but he's more than capable of taking a solo kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, had most amount of kills in one of their games against Uzbekistan, so we can hope for good things, does like to skirmish a lot, and then we're going on to Sins, who is a very pronounced Olaf player. 2 games on the champion so far, does like to play around the top and the mid lane.
Very aggressive jungler. He's the kind of guy who will get in your face. He will fight you for every buff. He will fight you for every camp if he thinks he's got the backup from his team. And more often than not, he does. So we'll absolutely keep an eye on his performance. And of course, following it out in the top lane, Bula XOXO playing Ornn twice and Olaf once as a flex during their qualifiers. We'll get the chance to see if he can support Sins in that aggressive jungling.
Yeah, he has to be one of my favorite players in the tournament because he has such unique champion picks. The Olaf is not usually seen into the top lane, but the Conqueror Triforce really giving a lot of surprises and awes in the audience.
So then, Clement, I gotta ask, now that we've introduced our players, now that we've got our two teams, what are we looking for this matchup? What is going to decide how this is going to go?
Well, let's be perfectly honest, the Chinese squad is the heavy favorites coming down into this matchup so far. So the big first test is going to be the laning phase. Now, overall, China as a country is known for the most aggressive and ruthless laning phases. Can Kazakhstan stand up to that will be their first challenge.
And that's actually a great matchup for Kazakhstan, because in their games against Uzbekistan, it was through very aggressive laning phases that they were able to take their advantages in the early game. Again, their Game 1 victory was a 21.5-minute win, which was very, very fast and efficient. Game 2, they were right on the clock to do the same thing, but only hesitated just a little bit before they closed it out at about 25 minutes. But of course, all of that being said, that's all our wonderful preamble. Now it's time for the action. Now we get to see the minds, the coaches of these two teams get a chance to compete with this pick and ban for Game 1.
And I really like what China is doing straight off the bat. They're taking away hard engage options from Kazakhstan. They know that the only way they really crumble would be if Kazakhstan is able to take them by surprise. So they're taking away those globals in Shen and the instant engage coming out from Rakan, sticking very close to the meta and also playing it quite safe.
And again, we do have the new Akali ban along with Ezreal. No surprise to see the bottom lane targeted, but the Akali ban so early on is something that should stand out. Of course, she did just come out on live servers just a few weeks ago, and she has been absolutely tearing it up through the professional scene.
Every single time we've seen an Akali picked in the Chinese leagues, it has been a solo kill going down into the mid lane. So this is one of those meta champions that everyone wants to get their hands on, and almost always the red side does need to ban away. Now, I do like the bans from Kazakhstan as well. So far in their games, their bot lane has been their strongest position, so they're taking away safety options from Uzi and from Mako, so they can probably try to make a rush in that lane.
In addition, they've also managed to pick themselves up the Aatrox, likely for the top or mid lane. We'll see where that ends up going, but Aatrox is a champion that has been essentially permanently banned from red side for the past few months, it seems, since his rework at Rift Rivals just before that. So already Kazakhstan are setting themselves up rather well, and they've managed to pick themselves up that assassin Ahri.
Very interesting picks. Both of these could go into multiple lanes, and we refer to these picks as flex picks. Now, from what the research I've done, Bulla XOXO is most likely going to pick up the Aatrox, but there still could be surprises. We don't know until they finally do lock in all of their positions. On the Chinese squad, we do see MLXG going for Camille. He is known for his early aggression, and they've set up the strongest mid lane kill combo so far. The level 2 CC chain between Room Prison and the hook shot is absolutely deadly. So Kazakhstan's going to have to think very carefully about what they take into the mid lane.
I mean, really, it looks like China has come up with a rather intelligent strategy in both the mid and bottom lane, because suddenly you pair that with the Alistar down bottom for Mako as well. There are plenty of opportunities for MLXG to gank, and of course, there are a bunch of CC top laners that Let Me could try to take as well. And if we're looking at that jungle versus jungle matchup of MLXG versus Sins, that could be something that we have to keep our eyes on, as Braum is the final pickup for Milky.
Yep, and we do see Kazakhstan now going with their second phase bans, taking out Ashe, another champion that Uzi has been quite renowned for. So what the game is setting up to be like is China is going to look to put their pressure into the mid lane. They have the great CC combination, but on the bottom side, it does look like they might be playing it a little bit safer. Kazakhstan, once again, going with the same logic with the Ezreal and Tahm Kench bans, trying to force Uzi into a hard position, which is a very interesting strategy because he is probably the best mechanical player at this tournament.
Certain unkillable demon kings in the world of League of Legends might want to challenge that throne, though we'll get to see those matchups happen later on in the tournament. Aurelia will also be banned away from Team China. Again, that Rise can be flexed to the top lane, so still we're seeing Kazakhstan with that Respect ban away, the Trundle banned away from Sins. So we'll see whether or not Uzi can take something safe, as we'll still get a chance to see what Fake Lover gets to take in this bottom lane. If it is going to be the Ahri Marksman, which we have seen out of the LPL, the Chinese region of Professional League, or if he'll go for something a bit more conventional with a standard marksman.
Yeah, definitely the Olaf ban shows a lot of respect from the Chinese side as well. It is a flex pick for Kazakhstan. It can go into their jungle and into the top lane. We remember that Bola XOXO performance where he was going with the Triforce and the Ravenous Hydra on Olaf, an absolute monster in the split pushing lane. So they're just taking that away for safe measure. However, on the Kazakhstan side, we have a very interesting situation where it does look like there will not be a traditional marksman pick for them. Echo is typically not played into the bot lane, it's more known as a mid laner pick, so we will most likely be seeing the Ahri into the bot lane, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, and it is looking to be a very interesting matchup. We'll see how that ends up shaking out, as Kai'Sa is the champion of choice for Uzi, his new superpower character, as he has been taking that champion to MSI, to Rift Rivals, and even in the LPL, just taking names all across the map. And then we've also got Let Me on the carry Jace in the top lane. So Team China coming out swinging with their champion picks, and Kazakhstan, with the final Quinn lock-in, set themselves up with a triple assassin composition.
Oh boy, this is such a fun composition coming up from Kazakhstan. It's not the best composition in terms of the 5v5, but if you look at their members, they're so strong across the board in terms of the skirmishing potential. And the Quinn pick is really interesting because we have seen it picked into the Jace. When you get the blind down onto the Jace, it's very hard for him to trade back onto you, and you can get that poke damage in. So Kazakhstan going for strong lanes, strong skirmishing, while on the Chinese squad, we do see more of the scaling potential coming out from the Kai'Sa and the Ryze.
Playing a little bit more standard towards those team fights, whereas of course Kazakhstan throughout their qualifier stages, they played through strong laning phases, trying to focus on that early game, trying to focus on their individual matchups instead of looking towards the more holistic team picture. It must be mentioned, of course, that some of their team fights did get a little bit sloppy and chaotic throughout the course of their qualifier games over the duration of playing those 3 matches. Of course, it can be very exhausting. But this is Kazakhstan making a statement. Hey, we don't want to try to beat you in a large 5 versus 5 grouped up team fight. We want to pull you apart into smaller battles and take victories that way.
And this basically goes back to our laning phase answer for Kazakhstan. We're talking about China coming in with the much more renowned mechanical players on their roster. So the way Kazakhstan is going to get through the early game is by picking the stronger matchups across the board, the matchups that do have the kill potential in themselves. So I'm going to be expecting a lot of 3v3s happening for their team, and Sins is going to have to play a massive part with Echo. He's going to have to land those stuns.
Absolutely. We saw an excellent performance from him in the qualifiers, invading over and over as the Olaf. Of course, his opponent this time is MLXG, a jungler who will not shy away from the battle. But all of that being said, we've loaded onto the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Jakarta Esports demonstration event has now begun, with Team China taking on Kazakhstan.
And we're just about to go into game. We're already hearing the game pings come out. And Kazakhstan so far, they have an incredibly powerful level 1. So if they decide to, they could try to layer their CC and force Vision into China's jungle.
We'll see if they decide to stack up in that way, or if they instead just play it, again, safe and focus on the laning phase. And I think that's the biggest focus that we have to look at for Team Kazakhstan. Do they play it safe? They have a team composition that sets them up to invade, to fight, to skirmish, to separate the pieces of China and try to find kills that way. Because if they do fall back, if they do play it safe, it's very easy for Team China to group up and look for those team fights themselves.
Yeah, for Kazakhstan, they do want to finish the game quite early. A 25-minute victory would be what they were looking for. On Chinese squad, however, they are looking for more of that late game potential. Kai'Sa is that champion that you do expect to be pushed in a little bit in lane, and you can see MLXG is going there to remedy the situation straight off the bat, putting the pressure onto Kazakhstan already.
He's actually invading into the jungle of Kazakhstan, sees that the blue buff hasn't been started by Sins, as it was a red start, and is now taking away the scuttle. Now that ward will spot him out, so that gives some very early vision. And look at that, Uzi and Mako already stepping up to take control of this lane. Despite the push pressure of an Ahri, Uzi's Kai'Sa is still something that looks to be winning the matchup.
Yeah, that really shouldn't happen in this matchup, to be honest, but Uzi is one of those...
Uh-oh, they're diving under the turret already. Team China's not happy with the laning phase. They find the kills, and they immediately set themselves up for success, though a bit of an overextension sends MLXG to an early grave. Already Team China they're showing us, hey, we know Uzi's the best mechanical player. We're just going to focus on him.
Yeah, we don't want him to fall too far behind in what is supposedly a harder matchup for him, but it doesn't even seem like the case under the mechanical hands of Uzi. He's been playing this lane incredibly well, getting the early push on as well. I would say the only bad thing about that trade coming in from China was that MLXG will pretty far behind. He is going to lose out on experience gain, while on the other hand, Sins was able to pick up a little bit of experience from the incoming wave.
Yeah, there's absolutely an opportunity for Sins to try and dictate the pace of the game now that MLXG is back in the base. Already, though, you can see good vision control from Team China has spotted Sins out in advance. They know where he's going, and MLXG is immediately heading to the opposite side of the map to make sure he doesn't find himself in an unwarranted skirmish. Elsewhere, Xie seems to be holding down the fort against Crayon, forcing an early recall in that mid lane, and no teleport from Crayon. Means that this large wave is about to crash in. Sins is trying to hold it so that Crayon can try to get some of the experience.
Pretty interesting. We saw Crayon actually switch back to Ignite at the last second. He was contemplating taking the cleanse earlier on once he saw the CC combination, but still went with the aggressive option. And this basically means that if he wants this to really work out for him, he has to look for those early kills. He has to play very aggressive and upfront.
And we see Sin setting up a gank up top. The flash engage out of Bula. He's turned upon by Letme, who still gets a kill. Meanwhile, Uzi in the bottom lane finds a kill against Fake Lover. MLXG will chase onto Sin just to scare him away and help push this wave back. But already, Team China, they are coming out swinging.
And that's what we're talking about, China having the more renowned players. Those two plays that just happened were mechanical outplays. It was a straight 2v2 in the bot lane and a 1v2 in the top lane against Letme. Really definitely handled, and he did force out the summoners from Bula XOXO as well.
MLXG is thinking about running towards the mid lane, but Crayon is already hugging his turret. You can see he's down 11 CS as this next wave crashes in, and MLXG is still invading away on Sim's Raptor camp. So still, it looks like Team China are trying to expand this advantage. We thought they were going to take it slow and play for the team fight, but they're just happy to use their raw mechanical advantages, that raw mechanical skill ceiling, to simply outmaneuver Kazakhstan this early on, though there is still plenty of opportunity for Kazakhstan to try to open this game back up.
Yeah, and the person they're going to be looking for to do that for them will be Sins coming in from the jungle. You can see the a bit of the problems with Echo so far, but the top lane trade, I really want to see the finish of it.
Oh, wow, another kill for Letme, a solo kill at that, keeping track of the flash. And now in the bottom lane, Fake Lover forced to finally use his flash away. Despite the earlier two kills, he did not use it, as Uzi and Mako are non-stop aggressing in this bottom lane, and now the wave is pushing into them.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult situation for Kazakhstan's bot lane. They're going
right back in. Even MLXG is there. Milky has no flash either. They're even passing over another kill. 2-0-1. 6 minutes in, and Team China have got 6 kills.
Yeah, this is an absolute disaster for Kazakhstan. Like we were saying, that they wanted to pick for a more early skirmish-oriented team composition. But if you're not able to get out of your lanes on even footing at the very least, it's very hard to execute on that strategy. So,
oh, and even in the mid lane, a snare onto Crayon. He had the flash, but didn't get the reaction to jump away from MLXG. This is just non-stop aggression from Team China.
Yeah, and it's happening in all 3 lanes as well. So it's making Kazakhstan, they're having a very difficult time trying to plot out where are they going to actually throw their investments into the lane. All 3 lanes are severely in the negative at this point.
And that's the question, as you said, for Sins. Typically in League of Legends, whenever a lane loses, you try to ignore it and focus on one lane that's winning to try to offset that balance instead of equalize it. Well, currently, Sins, he's the only one who's winning right now, excluding Milky, the support, who can't really put on a carry performance. Does he just focus on his own carry instead and try to go for the full assassin AP Echo from the jungle, or does he instead look towards one of these lanes that has CC and try to reset the matchup?
I really like you mentioned the fact that he is, in fact, going for the runic Echoes, going for the more heavy carry build instead of the tank build that we usually see Echo junglers go for.
Again, Mako finds the engage and lands a stun onto Fake Lover, but just constantly reminding them of the pressure that Uzi and Mako can put out this Team China bottom lane. But to get back to Sins, he's hovering around the mid lane right now. He is level 6 and might try to find something as Xie forced to flash over the wall. That's the Infernal Chains, Realm Warp. He steps back in and gets away. Red buff ticking down. And Xie might just survive here. MLXG and Letme looking to go 2v3. They're still getting good damage. But a quick ascension from Crayon gets him back away, and Sins will get popped before he can even use his ultimate. The flash engage under the turret as Mako chases in. It's 3 kills to Team China. This is an absolute slaughter as they are chasing Team Kazakhstan under the mid-tier 1 turret.
And what an impressive cleanup coming in from the Chinese squad. All members flooding in to help Xie out into the mid lane. And that was a full 4-member rotation into the mid lane to swing what was started out as a 3v1 situation.
That's 11 kills to 2, and now the mid-tier 1 turret is being broken down. They're even denying some of these minions here to prevent Kazakhstan from picking up some of the experience as Xie gets solo gold. He might only have 2 assists right now, but he is very far ahead of Crayon in CS. Uzi is another 30 CS down in that bottom lane. Even in the top lane, Letme, after those kills, 4-1 and 2 right now, is 20 CS ahead of Bula. This is Team China aggressively snowballing the game.
Yeah, and that's also their coordination coming to the forefront as well. All of their members are able to come into the mid lane at a moment's notice.
Oh, but they are trying to chase Uzi as he's forced to flash away in the bottom lane. Sins is ready with the dive. He's still got the Chrono Break ultimate, but it turns out they're able to chase down Bula. That's Sins trying to look for Uzi, misses the Timekeeper, and will be forced to back out of this, right back into MLXG, who finds himself a triple kill. Every play that Kazakhstan has tried has been turned on its head.
That was a great diffusion coming in from Mako to save his own AD carry. I really like what Kazakhstan tried to do right there. They had Bula XOXO come in from the top lane, try to surprise Uzi, but China was one step ahead of them. They had MLXG at the wings. Mako was waiting there as well, and the complete play backfires so horribly on them.
And it's 15 kills to 2. In the mid lane, Letme and Xie were able to find a kill onto Crayon. You can see Bula XOXO is trying to do the only thing available to him, push all the way up to the tier 1 turret and try to force this wave to be cleared out. But here comes Letme, not afraid of these minions at all and happy to step in as he's got Xie there with him to follow up with a snare and even more damage. Bula, he's trying to get something to happen, but he just cannot break apart this unsurmountable force that is Team China.
Yeah, and you can see the fearlessness out of Bula XOXO. He couldn't see the right rotation, but he was willing to step up to Letme despite the kill difference because he had the backing of the minions. He wanted to fight it out, and that's the spirit you need to have when you're going up against one of the top dogs in the tournament.
You have to be able to stand your ground. They've picked themselves into this composition, into this setting to try and challenge some of the best in the world. And now they find themselves struggling to answer back. They're learning why Team China has some of the best in the world in this matchup. But still, this wave is pushing in. The bottom tier 1 turret is still standing. But Teleport is ready for both Xie and Letme. There's plenty of opportunity for Team China to expand this lead even further. And they are giving Team Kazakhstan no respite. There is no rest.
Just going at it again and again, and you can see Letme is so far ahead into the top lane. That was another solo kill going down. Can Sins try to reverse this 3v2 into the bot lane, but unfortunately isn't able to get any of the stuns so far this game.
Sets up the Chronosphere, but not able to find either Uzi or Mako. Neither of them have summoner spells, but they both play it safe regardless and take no chance that they can get caught. Even MLXG is hovering on this top side of the map. Bula's on his way to defend, but MLXG with the Rift Herald buff could look to break an early tier 2 turret.
And you can slowly see China inching across the midway point of the map.
Oh, the flash engage onto Bula the moment he shows himself, and the Rift Herald into vision under the turret. Team China are trying to accelerate this game as quickly as possible.
And League of Legends games usually do not go this fast. Typically a game is around 35 minutes, and we see about 20 kills maybe total in that 35 minutes, but we already are at the 20 kill mark here at just a third of the time.
In the mid lane, Sins is trying to go one-on-one against Xie. He lands the Chronosphere, but Xie with the delayed snare simply outplays him, sees the move 2 plays in advance, and is able to deny it.
China completely crushing on the map right now. There is no corner for Kazakhstan to hide in.
Now they're setting up a dive. Uzi and Mako looking for Fake Lover and Milky. They've got Bula there as well. This could be able to find a kill under the turret. They're able to drop down Mako as Xie, with massive damage, is able to force Bula to back away, and a quick flash gets Xie over the wall.
I would say that would be the first fight that Kazakhstan has really taken over China in this game so far. You could see that Mako probably went in a little bit too deep, and once again, Bula XOXO is able to reinforce the bottom lane. This is how the Quinn pick is played. You do get incredible movement speed with your ultimate.
And look at that. Xie simply walking into the jungle, finds Sins and kills him. In the bottom lane, Fake Lover has died as Uzi and MLXG were able to chase under the turret and finish off the tier 1. This is a quick acceleration from Team China to break open the base of Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan did come out ahead of the prior fight, but they wanted to hold on to their territory a little bit too much, and China was just so far ahead. Xie did not even go back to base. He was able to heal off of his potions, heal off the honey fruit, and just come back in and snag another kill.
And now they're looking to continue to push this pressure to force Kazakhstan back. You can see the complete absence of vision from Kazakhstan as Bula is chased down. Letme hardly even has to auto-attack to finish it off as he is 8-1-3. MLXG is at 7-1-6. And then you've got the kill distribution across Xie and Uzi. Kazakhstan, they needed to take an early advantage. They threw it all towards this compositional gambit, and it did not pay off as Team China were able to outplay them and deny it almost completely.
Yeah, China coming out with a superior laning phase overall, winning all 3 of their lanes and keeping the jungle pushed in as well. The question for Kazakhstan is, how do they really rebound from this situation? And personally, I believe it will have to come down to those picks. They do have the tools to make it happen. They just need to find the target.
Now Mako, he's looking to engage as he's able to find a knock-up onto 2. MLXG chases. Letme from the side has found Bula, and again bullies him away. Uzi finds himself his first kill. Crayon lands the Infernal Chains, looking for some more damage, trying to lock him down as he's dropped into the Resurrection, but will still be forced to flash as this is just a dive from Team China. They find a double kill and chase it even further. Realm Warp to look under the inhibitor turret, forces the flash from Fake Lover. He will escape with his life unless Uzi gets the snipe, but he does not. And now Team China are looking at this middle tier 2 turret.
And China, just with the faster rotation speed overall, they have the better vision control over the enemy jungle, are able to push in and collapse. A lot of great plays happen right there. Letme sniping out Milky, the support, on the backside, over the wall, blind into the jungle, still able to find that kill, and everyone just following up so nicely. This is what we should expect from the Chinese squad. Their snowballing potential in these fights, their ability to rotate faster than their opponents is really their hallmark.
And Kazakhstan trying to play China's style against them with these assassins, with these aggressive lanes, find themselves unable to keep up. As we get to the 15-minute mark, they are down 22 kills in this game as Uzi, he lands the Void Seeker and continues to push this wave up. Now the inhibitors haven't been broken yet, so Kazakhstan still get the chance to move around the map, but slowly but surely they are losing ground, they are losing territory. I say slowly but surely, it seems like faster and faster as Team China are just accelerating this game.
And it's going incredibly fast, 25-3. Rarely do we see games as one-sided as this and as bloody as this. Typically, you know, paces do slow down, the games do roll into the 30 minutes, but China is having none of that. They're not going to wait it out. They're not going to give Kazakhstan any chances to come back.
No rest for the weary. Kazakhstan are now forced to defend their top inhibitor turret as China bring in a minion wave. 16 minutes forward, they're already pushing up with no hesitation. Now Bula's here along with Milky. There's plenty of engage and pick. They don't quite manage to land the knockup as the fight breaks out. MLXG leads the charge for Team China. Crayon on the side with no ultimate gets snared and dies. Uzi again chases it down as that is 4 kills. Sins is trying to defend in the mid lane, but the inhibitor is already broken. Now it's 5 versus 1. The death timers are short, but Team China could be looking for a very fast game right here and right now. They find themselves the kill onto Sins. They find themselves the ace, and they're trying to find themselves the game.
And what a clean ace that was, a 5-for-0 right in front of the inhibitor base. They take down every single member of Kazakhstan and finish it in a set 17-minute match.
An absolute shellacking as Team China come out with a dominant Game 1 victory. As you said, 17 minutes trying to set the record in Game 1. of the Asia Games.
If that was in the Chinese Professional League, that would be the fastest game they have played this split overall. We do see the handshakes coming in. I felt like Kazakhstan, they came in with a great strategy. I really like what they had in mind, but unfortunately weren't able to overcome the pure laning straight coming out from the Chinese squad.
You're exactly right. You cannot show fear against a team like this. You have to meet them head to head or try to take the complete opposite approach. What we see from teams out of the Korean region, playing it slow and measured, not allowing any opportunities for mistakes. But Team Kazakhstan, they know that that's not their style. They play it fast, they play it aggressive, and they try to take it back against Team China. But again, that was just a 17-minute victory, an absolute storm out of Team China in that game one.
Yep, and congratulations to China. They will pick up the first win in their own group, Group A, and it will also be the first win of the entire tournament so far for League of Legends.
Yeah, and of course we'll be looking forward towards their performance as the rest of the tournament goes on. Still, there are plenty more games to go, as this isn't just a write out now. It's like, okay, Team China has won their first game against Kazakhstan. They will get a chance to play again later against Team Kazakhstan, so there could be a chance for revenge. There are plenty of champions and unique strategies that could be surprising and try to upset the balance, equalize it a little bit, because again, the top two teams out of this four-person group will advance to the semis.
And the big contenders that China is really looking at would be the Vietnamese squad and also the squad coming in from South Korea. Now, they're pretty familiar with these two teams. All three of them did play at the MSI this year, happening in May. So that's going to be the heavyweight contenders between these three. And it's not even guaranteed that China will emerge out of this group. There are a lot of factors that could happen. Vietnamese does come from the EVO squad, and they're very well known in the region. It's also a very tight group so far, so there's going to be a lot of butting heads to come in the future. Yeah,
of course, Vietnam only dropping a single game in the qualifiers, I believe, to the Philippine team. And even over the duration of that game, that was Team Vietnam with a strong advantage for 30-35 minutes, but just not quite able to close it out against a more patient team. So it looks like we could have a very fast-paced group all around now that we've seen how Team Kazakhstan are willing to play, now that we've seen how Team Vietnam have played in their qualifiers as well. It seems like the only patient team might be that Republic of Korea team.
Yeah, South Korea was, they did play a little bit slow at the start of the group phase, but they did pick it up and come out as the first seed of the East Asia region. Overall, we do have to look at the damage score we have so far. Let Me, the tank player, usually on something more supportive, actually takes the damage lead this game.
Yeah. Massive amount of damage on that Jace, and no hesitation to snowball throughout that top lane. So often we see him play a more patient and slow style with his team, playing those tanks in the top lane. When you've got a player like Uzi in your bottom lane, you don't need to put in the hard work and carry because you know Uzi can do it himself. Well, Let Me seems to be making a statement like, hey, this is my tournament as well. This is his chance to shine on the big stage.
Yeah, he's typically known more as an engager, really packs the utility for his team, but this time he's holding on to the carry pants himself. On Kazakhstan's side, I was really impressed by Bola XOXO's performances. He did throw out several advances coming over from the Chinese squad, but in the end, the laning phase implosion was a little bit too much for himself to really hold up.
Yeah, again, that was coming down to the early aggression from MLXG, who gave no respite, constantly invading, constantly attacking, giving no chance for Team Kazakhstan to reset. Vision is such an important factor in preventing dives or ganks like that to happen, but Team China were snowballing and maneuvering so quickly that there was no chance for them to set up Vision. And how perfect that he takes our man of the match, the MVP for that game one.
Our spicy hot pot going in with the level 2 tower dive onto the bot lane just to make sure that Uzi could stay ahead in his lane. This is the style that we should expect from this squadron. 4 members of the team do come from RNG, and the way they like to play is to play through their bot lane.
And MLXG is the guy who enables that. He sets up either by focusing bottom lane, setting up Vision, or just enabling them to go 2 versus 2 without any engagement from the enemy jungler by keeping them distracted. And then again, relying on Uzi to be that carry in the bottom lane. But again, this game one tells a completely different tale. This time, he wanted to carry alongside Let Me.
Oh yeah, definitely. But he did start the game out with that level 2 tower dive, and that's what makes him so dangerous. He's very unpredictable, and he's willing to sacrifice his own progress to get Uzi ahead.
Yeah, and it absolutely paid off. Picking up those early kills, though, again, he did die very early on. He immediately just rotated top and set up Let Me for success, then rotated towards the mid lane, set up Xie for success, and I believe after that, he went back to bottom lane to follow up and again set up Uzi for success. So it's a very clear strategy. And when we look at the broader metagame of the tournament, what opposing teams can try to learn from that game one, there's really not a lot of information that you can pull out of a match like that because of how aggressive and snowball Team China were able to take that win.